Hello, and welcome to This is the Magic of Kairos Continue After the Retreat. My name is Chris Miller, and I currently work as a religious studies teacher at De La Salle High School in Concord, California, a LaSallian Christian Brothers school located within the Diocese of Oakland. I graduated in December 2019 with my doctoral degree in education from the University of San Francisco, with my dissertation focusing on the impact of the Kairos Retreat program in Jesuit high schools. I'm excited to share with you what I learned and discovered about the Kairos Retreat. This is from a senior who I interviewed as part of my study. I kind of brought all my problems out. I found that people had love in their hearts for me. You know, it was amazing, and I knew there had to be something else there. We were spending time together and we were talking about relationships, but it's like God is there. And that's kind of like where it started being clear to me that God was present in every aspect of my life. How cool is that? This quote and one at the end of the presentation are from seniors who attended the Kairos Retreat program. For many students, the Kairos Retreat is transformational, and it's something they remember for the rest of their lives. In this presentation, I'm going to provide a short description of a typical Kairos retreat, provide a brief summary of my research, and then focus on 5 best practices I learned from my research. Kairos means God's time and is a religious retreat grounded in Christian incarnational theology. Typically held over 3 or 4 days, faculty members and student leaders give several talks, followed by discussions in small groups. The goal of the Kairos Retreat is to deepen each student's sense of God working in their lives and provide the opportunity for them to examine the presence of love and how they can respond to that love more fully. Each day has a theme, and although each school that incorporates Kairos can and often does tweak the format, the themes usually found in Kairos include the following. Day 1, coming to know who you are and how God made you. Day 2, discovering who God is. Day 3, experiencing God's love through the person of Jesus. And day 4, living the fourth. The retreat is mysterious in every high school campus that offers Kairos in the United States. Individuals will often use code words for letters from parents, teachers, and friends, so forth. There is generally agreed upon notion that what happens on the retreat stays on the retreat. So the clandestine nature of the retreat adds to the mystique of the experience. My study described high school seniors in single-gender Jesuit high schools who had attended a Kairos retreat during their junior years and participated in fourth-day follow-up activities in terms of religious engagement and the internalization of religious beliefs. The Daily Spiritual Experience Scale, the DSES, and the Christian Religious Internalization Scale, the CRIS, were given to 267 seniors, and 58 Kairos attendees were interviewed, along with 6 retreat directors at 5 Jesuit all-male high schools in the United States in the fall of 2018. Joe, a pseudonym that represents a composite student, was a senior and had attended the Kairos retreat at least 5 months prior to the survey being administered. He had the opportunity to participate in pre-retreat activities and in fourth-day follow-up activities. Joe participated in religious activities on most days, and especially focused on the following: experiencing connections to life, feeling God's love through others, being spiritually touched by creation, feeling thankful for blessings, feeling selfless caring for others, accepting that others do wrong things, and desiring to be close to God. Based on the data from the CRIS, which was some of those items I just presented, Joe had more internalized religious beliefs than someone who had not attended a Kairos retreat, as measured by the CRIS. Joe most likely attended the retreat because of the hype or mystery aspect of the retreat experience, as noted by 42% of the 83 student responses. In second place was influence by classmates and family at 34%, followed by the spiritual aspect at 12%, taking a break from life at 6%, teacher staff member influence at 4%, and missing school at 2%. Like 48% of the 82 student responses, Joe had attended a sophomore or junior retreat, excluding the Kairos retreat. 29% of the students responded they had attended an immersion trip. 12% of the students reported attending a retreat at their church or in the Roman Catholic elementary school. 11% of the students reported their involvement on a campus ministry team or involvement with retreats for a school club. Joe most likely enjoyed the Kairos retreat experience of spending time with and building relationships with classmates, as noted on 38% of the 65 student responses. 22% of the students reported the letters from parents and loved ones, and 18% reported being removed from distractions were the most important aspects of the retreat. 12% of the students reported being loved or affirmations, and 10% reported small groups or talks as the most important aspects of the Kairos retreat experience. Participation in or an awareness of a formal follow-up program offered by the school was common, as 30% of the 74 responses indicated participation in or being aware of a formal follow-up program. 24% of the students reported leading a retreat or becoming involved with campus ministry or their church, followed by 15% of the students who reported living the fourth through relationships with friends or family. 11% of the students each reported they lived the fourth by having a different perspective, and 11% reported they had attended an immersion trip. 9% of the students reported becoming engaged in school clubs. Joe most likely changed internally, as he reported an increase in faith, as shown by 35% of the 83 responses. 31% referenced a better perspective, followed by 27% of the students who referenced interactions with others when asked about changes to their inner self, especially religious beliefs or practices. Finally, 7% of the students referenced becoming more active in church after the Kairos retreat experience. All of the schools in my study have practices that are noteworthy and exemplary to some extent. Based upon the quantitative and qualitative data of my study, exemplary practices are now going to be highlighted. Exemplary practice number one should develop a Kairos retreat experience that focuses on relationships with others, both students and caring adults, and recognition of vulnerability in the lives of young men. School 3 highlighted this practice as they had the second highest DSES means and the second highest identified mean on the CRIS. Highlighting this practice, a young man at the school stated, "I would say the relationships that were built there, how vulnerable the space was designed to be, and how if we saw each other, we were like, if you're going to be vulnerable, then I have nothing to lose." Specific elements at this school included having a large number of faculty and staff, 60 plus, in a given school year attend the retreat, perhaps by offering retreat attendance as a way to fulfill extracurricular supervision duties. Focus on the student leadership team of each retreat, having a pre-retreat meeting with all of the participants about what to expect, supporting a strong peer encouragement culture to attend the retreat, and having a follow-up program that engages the whole community after the retreat experience. Exemplary practice number 2. One should develop a Kairos retreat experience that focuses on the self, family, friends, and God. School 2 highlighted this practice as they had the highest DSES mean, the third highest introjected mean, and the highest identified mean on the CRIS. Highlighting this practice, a young man at this school stated, "A lot of what I kind of talked about and reflected on in Kairos was my relationship with my parents, and I think that it's definitely gotten better. After that, I made more of an effort. I think I'm probably closer to God too." Specific elements at this school included student leadership in planning the entire retreat, such as the students selecting the rector for each retreat, incorporating parents, students, females from the local all-girls school, and from the larger community, which are combined into 2 prayer services, encouraging the use of digital media to keep students connected post-retreat, utilizing a tangible item such as a candle kept for a week by a student who attended the retreat and passing that on to another student. Exemplary practice number 3. One should develop a Kairos retreat experience that focuses on inner reflection and sharing of graces. School 5 highlighted this practice as they had the 3rd highest introjected mean on the CRIS. Highlighting this practice, a young man at this school stated, "I'd have to say it allowed me to reflect on my experiences more deeply and understand how God has kind of interacted with my life." Specific elements at this school included the sharing of graces every night, the distribution of letters from school administrators and parents spread throughout the retreat instead of just one night, incorporating the practice of having one member from each small group provide a short witness reflection after the talks, and encouraging students to attend an immersion trip post-Kairos. Exemplary practice number 4. One should develop a Kairos retreat experience that focuses on outward change and increased faith. School 4, my study highlighted this practice as they had the 3rd highest DSES mean, the highest introjected mean, and the 4th highest identified mean on the CRIS. Highlighting this practice, a young man at this school stated, "I've become a lot more confident, I guess, would be a part of it. A lot more open to other people and to talk to them. Spiritual changes, I think I'm more engaged in Mass than I have been previously." Specific elements at this school included a focus on the Eucharist, with Mass being offered 3 times on the retreat, inviting Kairos Retreat alumni from different Roman Catholic high schools in the city to write letters to students and to attend the closing ceremony, and offering a post-retreat gathering. Exemplary practice number 5. One should develop a Kairos retreat experience that focuses on the graces and challenges of life. School 1 highlighted this practice as they had the 4th highest DSES mean, the 2nd highest introjected mean, and the 3rd highest identified mean on the CRIS. Highlighting this practice, a young man at this school stated, "It was finding out a lot about myself. For me, it was, I thought I knew a lot about myself to begin with, but Kairos kind of like helped me learn more about myself and about the other people I went with." Specific elements at this school included a 4th-day follow-up program that consists of a monthly gathering with topics selected by students and the solicitation of baby pictures by parents for viewing by the students during the retreat. The baby pictures represent the innocence and graces of God of the participants. So earlier I had said there are 5 exemplary practices, and I am excited to let you know there are 2 more, 2 bonus exemplary practices. Both of them relate to living the 4th. So exemplary practice number 6. One should develop a Kairos retreat experience that highlights living the 4th. 4 of the 5 schools that I visited had a formal follow-up program, and all 5 of the schools encouraged the students to live out what they learned from the retreat. Highlighting this practice, a student at school 2 stated, "There's a ceremony when other kids get back from Kairos, and that's great because it's an opportunity to accept these people into the community, then also kind of show them right off the bat as they get home that love that they found on the retreat is actually present in their everyday life." A student at school 3 stated, "It's been more personal in a sense, like focusing on deepening my relationships with friends and teachers and being intentional about saying, 'Hey, how are you actually doing today?' rather than just saying, 'Oh, hey, what's up?' and then walking away." At school 3, the data collection included 19 seniors who had attended a Kairos retreat within a few weeks of administration of the survey. It was expected that the means on the DSES and on the introjection and identified sections of the CRIS would show that These students would have the highest scores, followed by seniors who went on Kairos during their junior year, and that those who did not attend Kairos would be last. But that was actually not the case. On all three scales, those that did not attend Kairos came in last, which is to be expected. On both scales on the CRIS and on question 16 of the DSES, however, the students who attended the retreat during their junior year had higher means than the seniors who had recently attended the retreat. The recent retreat attendees only scored highest on the DSES and not by a large margin. These scores could be explained by the differences in the groups, or it could be that juniors had more time to live the fourth. In any case, these data indicate a junior year Kairos retreat with living the fourth activities allows students the time to strengthen their religious beliefs. Exemplary practice number 7. Juniors who attend a Kairos retreat should consider how best to live the fourth. Some ways of living the fourth include participation in follow-up retreat programs, immersion trips, and other school activities. In addition, young men who attend a Kairos retreat should think about how their words and actions can reflect what was learned on the retreat. One student at school 2 stated, "Just by being on the campus with a bunch of high school students, there's a lot of opportunities to just live the fourth. Like you can, I don't know, like all sorts of things. Like to talk to someone if they're looking lonely at lunch, whatever it may be. So I think that's a big part for me." As I stated at the beginning of this presentation, the Kairos Retreat program can and often does have a significant impact in the lives of our young men and women. Indeed, at one of the schools I visited, a young man said to me, "It was really impactful. It challenged me. It made me question." I was like, maybe there is a God. This can't be all coincidence. All these past things can't coincidentally happen. It gave me a new sight of maybe God isn't like this white bearded man. And maybe God is through the love that my friends have given me, because those letters were written before we got on the bus, or things like that. Then I carry that down to when I have neat interactions with people on a human level. Maybe that's God. I've started to see maybe that's God being at work in my life. How awesome is that for this young man to recognize on a Kairos retreat that maybe God is there? The Kairos retreat experience can and often does have a profound impact on the lives of young men and women in high schools, especially if the schools take the commitment to live the fourth seriously. The findings of my study present an opportunity for Catholic schools, specifically Jesuit high schools, but actually also other religious orders and diocesan schools, to consider incorporating elements of the exemplary practices included. In addition, the findings of this dissertation have broad implications for programs with a high intensity experience, such as other retreats, camps, immersion programs, and so forth. Leaders of such programs ought to consider how to incorporate follow-up programs that engage participants in reflection of the experience. In addition, leaders of high-intensity programs ought to consider the timing of such programs so as to have a greater of experience by engaging individuals after the experience, similar to administrators at Jesuit high schools who had explored and acted upon moving the Kairos retreat from senior year to junior year. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this session engaging and interesting. You are welcome to contact me at my email address listed there, camillerlg@aol.com, or 408-395-7949. You can also find my complete dissertation. It can be found at https://repository.usfca.edu/dis/508. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your convention, and thanks again. Take care.